confused man.
रेडियो जिंदगी 1170 AM पे वेलकम लिसनर्स, मैं हूं आपके साथ में ईरा एंड वेलकम टू द शाह पिराली लॉ शो. Listeners, if you have heard this show before, you know that Shah Pirali joins us for an hour and talks about everything related to the laws and the immigration rules and regulations. So if you have any questions, you can definitely call in. Let me quickly give you a brief introduction of Shah Pirali. Shah Pirali is the founder, president and managing attorney at the Shah Pirali Law Group, which is right here in Newark, and he is a member of the American Immigration Lawyers Association as well as the State Bar of California. He is a passionate advocate of human rights, civil rights, social action and social services, and he has a strong interest and knowledge of the political legal system right here in the US. He formed his law group to work on the causes he feels most ardently about. The law group focuses on immigration law with an emphasis on employment-based immigration and helps his clients all over the US. Listeners, if you would like to get in touch with him or if you would like to ask him a question, first thing you can do is call us right here on the studio number 510-657-1170. That's 510-657-1170. You can call on this number and speak to Shah Pirali. Ask him one question about your visa or about your immigration process or case. If you would like to get in touch with him after the show, you can call the office number 510-742-5887. His office is right here in Newark, like I said, and you can get all this information and more on the website piralilaw.com. That's piralilaw.com. So without any further ado, let me welcome Shah Pirali to the show. Hi Shah, welcome to Radio Zindagi. Welcome to this brand new time.
Thank you so much, Ira. Thank you for welcoming me, and thank you for the kind words. And we usually come on Thursdays, but since we are changing a little bit, and we're going to start on Wednesdays, because of all the situation we have now, things have changed a little bit. So I hope we're going to definitely hear a new audience, and a new audience are probably kind of listening. So for those who don't know me, I'm a lawyer in California, and I practice mostly immigration law, and I'm also the president of the Shah Pirali Law Group. Our office operates in 3 areas. We have one in Newark, and another one in San Francisco, and also in Washington D.C. So it is important that we kind of cover different topics, especially right now. We are dealing with many issues when it comes to immigration, but there might be some good news coming for people from India with this new bill reducing the waiting time on green cards. But it has not been finalized, so I'm not really going to go into details on it. But I just wanted to let people know that there is a possibility that we see a reduction in waiting time, something we have been fighting for a long time to get from the government. But again, until it becomes law, we cannot really kind of confirm this is going to be there. But so far, it seems it's on the route to happen. So, like you said, thank you so much for basically doing the show with me, and I hope we will have people. If you are interested in anything immigration, people will be free to call 510-657-1170 on air, and after the show, of course, they can call the office to make an appointment, phone consultation if they want to, 510-742-5887. And before I start, I usually have the disclaimer I always read. Anything I'm going to tell you today is my opinion. You should not act or refrain to act solely on the information provided. You should contact an attorney if you have any questions. So if you have any question, please feel free to ask. And if any callers also want to call and ask any question live, I'll be glad to answer as much as I can.
Absolutely.
So
I will let you know if there's a caller, and then we can take it from there. So meanwhile, what would you like to share with the listeners? What are the updates?
Well, the big thing is updates. We are seeing a lot of bad news, of course, but one of those good news is the one I just shared. There, as you know, a lot of people, especially from India and China, have been waiting on their green cards under the category of EB2 and EB3, even EB1, which are those employment-based categories. And some of them for India have been waiting for 10 years, 15 years, and even 19 years. Some people I know, I think the longest one I heard is 19 years. And now, because it's based on something called a country cap, what it means is that each country has a certain percentage of number of green cards. And what happens is that small countries and big countries pretty much have the same amount when you add it together. And that's not really kind of an equalizer, because if you look at India and China having the highest population in the world, plus the most number of applications, and Mexico, same thing, they are disproportionately being represented. And now with this new bill, which is being proposed, by the way, not proposed, it's coming close, unless it's vetoed or something else happens, it will remove that cap. And when it removes that cap, what it will do, you will see all those waiting times being reduced to basically maybe half, maybe less than what people have been waiting on. So we are hoping this will come true, but at the same time, it will also create a lot of issues, possibly lawsuits, so we have to be ready for that too, because a lot of people are not very happy about it, because it might also be taking the visas from countries which have always been current. Most countries in the world are current, by the way. That means when they file for their green card, they get it. There's not a long waiting time, maybe 2-3 years they get it. But for India and China, the waiting time has been years and years. So we're talking almost sometimes 15, 20 years. So if this happens, either everybody will get it fast or everybody will get it slow. So now this will create problems between countries. At the same time, there are a lot of groups which are anti-immigration, which are not going to be happy about it, because we are going to have an influx of applications for green card. So we are expecting a battle there. At the same time, it's the closest we have seen for years when it comes to such situations, because since I've been practicing, I've been hearing this, they will reduce that. Under the Bush administration, they tried it, they couldn't do it. Then they have also tried it under Obama, it didn't work. And now let's see under Trump. Well, under Trump things are kind of weird. They are good and bad. So we might see some kind of relief. So we have to wait and see. Now, having passed the kind of good news, even though it's not final, now we're going to talk a little bit about some of the bad news.
Okay.
Because a lot of people are expecting. And again, these are just speculations. We hear that all the time now because of the elections, etc., that there will be some kind of block on the H-1B, which is unfortunately not really kind of, we don't really have details on it, but they are talking about it. And hopefully it won't happen, because that's the main visa that is left really for engineers and other people of a specialty occupation, as we call them, to come to the United States. So again, unfortunately, this is the first time in my career where everything is so confusing, because we don't really have clear answer from the administration. All the rules that we are seeing, suddenly they pass them and then they have to retract, or vice versa. So it is frustrating. And I know a lot of people are going to be really frustrated, and they are, and they have good reasons to be. So just to let you know, if you have any questions, feel free. I think, Eva, can you please give the number? I kind of missed the number for the
Definitely.
It's 510.
That's true. Listeners, you can call us on the studio number, which is 510-657-1170. That's 510-657-1170. ये है स्टूडियो का नंबर. आप इस नंबर पे फोन करके इमिग्रेशन के बारे में, अपने इमिग्रेशन के स्टेटस के या केस के बारे में कोई भी सवाल पूछना चाहें, डेफिनेटली यू कैन आस्क अस राइट हियर ऑन द स्टूडियो नंबर 510-657-1170. We have Shah Pirali on air with us till 11 a.m. You can also call his office number after the show if you'd like to meet with him or make an appointment or speak to him in detail. Number hai 510-742-5887 and the website is piralilaw.com. That's PERRALLYLAW.com. Usually ये show होता है Thursday को सुबह 10 से 11 के बीच में, but now it is being moved to Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. So right now is your time. If you're driving and if you have any questions, this is a one-stop shop where you can get expert advice about anything immigration. So do call us. Meanwhile, Shah, let's continue.
Exactly. Thank you so much, Ara, for basically kind of covering this. And I really appreciate the fact that you can say this in Hindi. I don't really speak Hindi very well. And I apologize for that. Although I understand most of it, I just can't really speak it.
No, don't worry. If you have any callers who want to speak to you in Hindi, I can translate it for you. So don't worry about that.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So again, ladies and gentlemen, the interesting part we were talking about is we might see a reduce in the cap, which means we are, cap of country cap, which means basically we might see people from India getting their green card faster, which is really a blessing because a lot of people have been suffering. Just to give you an idea, I have clients who are on the borderline of depression because they've been here for years. They've been working hard, paying taxes, and they cannot get their green card. And when they cannot get their green card, their children also, if they turn 21, even they get the green card, the children don't get anything. So they feel really frustrated because at the end of the day, they do all this for their children. And that's the part which is the most frustrating part in the entire process when it comes to the green card for India and also China and some from Mexico. We are seeing this, but at the end of the day, we have seen attempts in the past to reduce the waiting time by different administrations. Even the Bush administration tried it. He failed. It really came close. Then we had Obama tried it, and of course with Obama everything was getting complicated because Congress was a Republican Congress. But now this time it seems that there is a possibility among all those years that this can pass, and if it does, it will really make a difference. So let's kind of follow up on this, and if it goes through, it goes through, and we will keep people updated. They can check our YouTube channel on youtube.com/ShahPiraliLaw, and you can subscribe to it, and I will update people on that. Or ultimately on Radio Zindagi, we should be able to update you hopefully next Wednesday if there are any changes. So that's where we stand when it comes to this new possibility of legislation. But until we see it really become law, we cannot really keep our hopes up because from experience, I've seen many times when things are really kind of coming close and then suddenly everything just falls apart. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, this is Attorney Shah Pirali, and I have Ira with me on the board, and she's helping me kind of doing the show, and she's helping me to do the show, and it is really an honor to have her with me and have the new listeners probably on Wednesday. Right. And again, this is Attorney Shah Pirali. So what we are seeing here is a very kind of confusing situation On one side, we're seeing them becoming very anti-immigration. On the other side, we are seeing some legislation that has not really come through in the past coming through under Trump, which is really kind of counterintuitive. That's the part where I don't know really how to put it, but I'm seeing, unfortunately, more bad than good. A lot of people, for example, who file for extension under the H-4 visa. I don't know if you know about the H-4, but the H-4 is really it used to be a headache visa because most of the people couldn't work, but now people can work. But then this is a problem. If they're filing an extension of H-4 and they're filing at the same time the EAD with that, the H-4 itself is not getting processed. And if the H-4 is not getting processed, you are not going to get the EAD, which is the work permit.
Right.
Because the H-4 requires a fingerprinting, and the system of fingerprinting we have right now is not operating really well, because for whatever reason, maybe for health reasons or for other reasons or financial reasons, are not really kind of taking people to do the fingerprint. And this is becoming a huge stress for the people, especially those who are extending their H-4 and their EAD, H-4 EAD. One of the solutions some people have found is to travel outside if you have a stamp on your passport, and then come back on the H-4 and then apply for the EAD, because the EAD itself doesn't require the fingerprint part, the biometrics. So that's one solution, but this solution is risky. Number one, if you don't have a stamp on your passport, don't try this, because if you go for stamping right now, you might not get it.
So,
number two,
in this case, let me quickly ask you this question. Sorry for interrupting. H-4 is the dependent visa. H-1 is the primary visa. So, if let's say the primary visa's holder extension has arrived and, they have a visa, and also, let's say, the stamping is done. And so, on the basis of that, an H-4, of course, extension is still in process. Can they also get a stamped visa on their passport based on the primary applicant's visa, which they have already received?
This is a good question. Just to let you know, the H-4 doesn't function like the H-1.
Okay.
In order to get an H-1 stamping, you need to have this approval from the Department of Homeland Security.
Right.
But if you're traveling outside the United States to get a stamping of H-4, you don't need any processing here. All you have to do is have an approval of H-1 of your spouse, and then you just go to the U.S. Embassy and you apply for your H-4. So it doesn't matter you have one application here or not. It doesn't make a difference. Everything will be really kind of related only to the H-1 itself. So if your spouse H-1 is approved, when you go for stamping, they will not ask, have you filed an H-4 in the U.S.? No. Right. Directly you apply for your H-4 at the U.S. Embassy. But here's the glitch. The glitch is that right now at the embassy, we don't even know when they say they are open, but a lot of people are not getting a date because they are backlogged. And number two, whenever you travel, you're going for any kind of interview, there's a risk involved. So just to answer your question, if I got it right, if someone has a process of H-4 going on, can they go outside to get their stamp? The answer is yes, because it's irrelevant to have it here when you go outside. You don't need to have it here. You can have it. It doesn't make any difference. Because the day you leave the country, for example, let's say you file an H-4 extension inside the U.S. It's called a status extension, right? So if you leave the country, automatically this extension gets cancelled.
Right.
So when you go for your stamping of the H-1, it's a new H-4, H-4, you will get a new stamp which is totally not related to the one you filed here in the U.S. So you can have it even you don't have anything applied, or even something is applied. So when you go there to get this H-4 stamp and you come back in, at the airport, then they will give you your I-94, which is your status, and that's what controls the whole thing. So again, just to let people know that before you even make the decision to leave the country to go for stamping and try this, you got to talk to an attorney. You can call us. You can call me at the office. We'll do a consultation, 510-7425-887. The reason for that is if you just go, because a lot of people, they post things online on forums, and they think that if someone got it, they will get it. Not necessarily, because there are many factors that comes in. For example, if you have any kind of criminal background, if the company your spouse is working is not a strong company or is under investigation, and you don't know about it, and you go for H4 stamping, they'll look at the company and they will put you into what we call a 221G, which means they delay the case until they make a decision. So before you make this job, because that's a lot of people are advocating this online, and I saw that, and many of my clients are telling me about it. Don't just go and rush because you want to expedite things, because it can really cost you big time. So be very, very careful what's going on, and it is very important that you actually kind of make sure you check everything before you make any move.
Right.
Does that answer your question, or?
Yes, so definitely. In fact, when you initially said that, the H4 visa is not even dependent on the process over here, they can directly go and file on the basis of the H1 approval, that itself also, was sufficient. Listeners, once again, let me quickly remind you, we are in conversation with Shapir Ali. If you have any questions, you can definitely call us right now. Shapir Ali is the founder, president, and managing attorney at the Shapir Ali Law Group, and immigration के बारे में he is the expert. So अगर आपको कोई भी सवाल है इमिग्रेशन को लेके, आप फोन कर सकते हैं हमें स्टूडियो नंबर पर 510-657-1170. That's 510-657-1170, and you can also call his office number, which is 510-742-5887. That's 510-742-5887. The website is piralilaw.com. That's PERALLYLAW.com. piralilaw.com. You can also drop them an email on info@piralilaw.com. info@piralilaw.com. कोई भी सवाल आपको है, you can definitely get in touch with them. On air, we have Shapir Ali till 11 a.m. So we have half an hour more to go. Any questions about any immigration case or status, you can definitely call us and speak to us. Shah, when you were talking about the H4 visa and the EAD as well, it reminds me, I know somebody whose H4 extension actually went for, like, H4 visa went for extension and renewal last year. Okay, so it's been over over a year now, and there has been no news. And fingerprinting also, I think they did some time last year itself, they had done fingerprinting, but when they check the case status on the website, the last update is that the fingerprinting was done last year in August, I think, and there has been no news after that. So would you know what's going on with that?
Yeah, that's a different issue. So what I would recommend in this situation, if the fingerprint is done and there's something not right going on, I would recommend contacting a congressman. You can just go online and type "find my congressman" or "find your congressman," something like that. Google who's your congressman in your area, contact them and ask them if they can push the case, because if the biometrics have been done, the fingerprinting has been done, then there is nothing really holding the case, except if there's some kind of background check or investigation or something like that. So, and if they need help in the situation, they can give me a call at the office. We can talk in more details, but I will highly recommend contacting a congressman as soon as possible on this, because that's too long.
Yeah, okay. All right. Well, I'll definitely let them know. So find my congressman or find your congressman is what they need to search. All right. Okay. Okay. Listeners, again, if you have any questions, you can also chime in. Call us on 510-657-1170. And meanwhile, Shah, we can continue. And if there's any caller, I'll definitely let you know.
Exactly. So just to let people know, the website is, I think, Find Your Representative or Find My Congressman. It's find your representative. I'm sorry, not your Congress. Find your representative, and then if you type "find my congressman" on Google, it will appear also. Then you put your zip code in, and you should be able to get your congressman. Many congressmen, and I mean here both the House representative and also the Senate have been very, very helpful in those matters, especially the Democrats, but even the Republicans. I have to give credit to them. We have had situations where they intervene and they made things work better. So it is important that you really kind of make a move. If the biometrics have been done, that means the case is being held for either background check or some other reason. As such, it is important that you now start following up, because once you pass 6 months, there's something not right going on, and having a representative involved will really kind of make a change, because we have done that for many times for clients, where we ask them to call their representative, and ultimately things get moving. At least you will have an idea what's going on.
Okay.
So this is, any other question on that?
No, that was all about it.
Okay. So exactly. And H4 is a really kind of interesting topic, because I fought for years to get that EAD. I was one of those lawyers who fought, and now it's really kind of heartbreaking if in case something happens to it. Luckily, so far we have been able to keep it, and let's see how things are going to unfold. This is an election year. A lot of things are going to be really different.
Right.
So expect good and bad things to happen.
So in this whole thing, when every time we hear H4 EAD might get scrapped, and they will not probably be allowing the H1 or H4 spouses to be working and all, it has been pretty dicey, it has been uncertain. What do you think is going to happen, or what is happening right now? Because so far everyone is only just going on working in uncertainty, that let's see how far it goes, let's see how far we're allowed to, or how far is EAD, the H4 EAD allowed, and we never know when it might get cancelled, so let's make the most of it while we still can. What do you think, Shah, in your view, where do you think it is headed?
Yeah, this is kind of the crystal ball question.
Okay.
But one thing I know is basically have been involved now almost 10 years now with the H4 EAD. I think what will happen, many companies are enjoying the fact that people have H4 EAD. Let's be honest. A lot of them like the flexibility of it.
Yep.
And of course, a lot of people are getting a chance in life which they would not have gotten if they didn't have the H4 EAD. I know a lot of entrepreneurs. I know people who really opened big companies based on H4 EAD. I also know a lot of people who have been spending life at home basically, and stress now with H4 EAD has found a new life. So on this side, hopefully they will have some kind of humanitarian kind of thinking, but we cannot ask for that much from that administration. So now let's talk on legal side. Legal side, a lot of companies are ready to file a lawsuit. I heard almost 100 of them said if in case they try to take down the H4, they will sue, and they have good reasons too, right? Now, this is where things are going to get a little bit tricky. Trump himself seems not to be interested to take away the H4. I repeat that.
Okay.
He's not really interested, personally. But he has a pressure coming from this group, which is, one of them is Safe Job USA, which is kind of, quote-unquote, not an anti-immigration group. The other one who has been pushing since day one to remove this. Now, what has happened is that the Obama administration have been fighting them until basically the new administration took over. And when the new administration took over, they didn't really fight them. All they did is telling them that, hey, we are going to take care of it, don't worry. That can be really kind of going two ways. So it can be in their favor, which they're probably hoping that it will be in their favor, that the H4 EAD will be gone, But bottom line, they have not done what this group wants them to do, and for a little bit they have started the de-franchising of the H4 EAD, but then they stopped when the COVID hit us. Now, lately they have been kind of telling people, yes, we will take it. They have been telling the group that they will actually take it away, but at the same time, it is not really clear if they will be willing to do that. At the same time, I think Trump doesn't want to add more pressure on him when it comes to because of the elections.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the question is that what will happen next? Will Trump win or not? Right now, I think it's 50-50, the chances. If he wins, he might just ignore them because he himself is enjoying that H4 EAD, because a lot of his employees are in H4 EAD.
Mm-hmm.
Now, at the same time, if he wins, he will have to actually kind of basically confirm his base and help them really to get what they want. So he might actually take it away. Now, when we say he takes it away, this is the question. If someone has an H4 EAD, for example, let's say you have an H4 EAD going to 2023, right? And in between, the law says, okay, no more H4 EAD. What will happen to those people? Well, most lawyers believe, a bit like DACA, that people will be able to enjoy it until 2023. After that, they won't be able to renew it. That's what a lot of people have been asking. So far, they have been kind of itching and telling people they will take away the H4 EAD, and it's been, since Trump took power 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And H4 EAD has been here and going strong. So I know people are living in fear, but that's pretty much what is going on for everybody on immigrant visa right now. Whether you're H4 EAD, H1, it is a stress is there because people are losing their jobs right and left. Even citizens are losing their job, green card holders. So I think people who are in H4, my advice is to actually, more a recommendation, just go for it and keep it going until we hear, because this is the same for everybody. We are all living in uncertainty right now. I am a citizen. I run a law firm, but I don't even know how things are going to unfold in immigration in the next month, actually, in the next day. So it is very, very important that you actually kind of not really kind of get stressed about it. And basically, one thing I'm advising people, if they're feeling very stressed, try to shift to another visa. H1B is an option, but there are other visas like O1 visa. O1 visa is very interesting because a lot of people have talents, hidden talents they don't know, and they can get an O1 visa. And that makes them not dependent on the H1, number one, like that. If in case your spouse loses their job, etc., you don't lose your H4 and the EAD.
Mm-hmm.
And the O1 also can lead you to an EB1 category, which is very interesting because an EB1 goes faster than an EB2 category to get a green card. So I will recommend people on H4 to actually kind of not give up and get stressed and just let things go like that. It's better to just keep it on H4, and if you can shift to H1, go ahead. But the problem I realize is that many companies people are working with are not willing to file the H1B or even the O1 for their candidate, mainly because of the restrictions of H1 on the salary. So that's why we are seeing such a big pressure from companies not really to remove the supporting the H4 EAD. So at the same time, we're seeing a push on the other side saying, even from H1 people, I don't know if you heard it, but a lot of H1 people are not very happy with the H4, right? Because they feel like
their jobs are going to go. Everybody keeps thinking that the H4 EAD people are, taking over their job, something that they can do. H4 EAD people are, because of the flexibility, like you said. So yeah, not a lot of people are happy with people who have H4 EADs. But Shah, why don't you actually talk about O1 visa? And like you said, that it's a pretty interesting visa, and I was reading about it. It is purely talent based, O1A and O1B. So why don't you shed some light on that?
The O1 for people who have an outstanding kind of capacity. And outstanding can be anything, by the way. It doesn't have to really follow what you're reading online. Unfortunately, what we see online is just a part of the real thing, what people have done in the past, and unfortunately many lawyers, and even myself was doing that. We just follow that checklist. You have to have publications, awards, a bit like EB1A. But the truth, that's not really exactly the law. The law says basically you have to be someone of just a little bit above ordinary abilities, right? For example, you have someone maybe working on something related to COVID, and someone can earn a high salary because this job, his knowledge or her knowledge is really different. And the most important part, and Sharif and I had discussed about that a lot in our shows previously, he's the one handling in our office all the O1. He's the attorney actually who handles all the O1 in our office. And we were discussing about that. We have many cases where people come to us and say, my lawyer told me there's no way for an O1. I don't know what to do next. So when we tell them, yeah, you have a potential, either they don't believe us, or if they believe us, then they think, okay, there's something fishy going on. But the truth is that we get them approved, because when we do the assessment, the way we do it, we put two brains together. So I do an assessment on my side, Sharif does another one, and we discuss about it. Then we decide and tell the client. Sometimes it's obvious. We don't need to discuss or brainstorm on it. We just go ahead and tell the person, yeah, you do qualify. Sometimes we brainstorm, we strategize, and we find the things, because many people don't even know they have things that they don't know about. For example, membership in some kind of groups, or some kind of awards they want. They have patents and stuff like that, and they don't really look into the O1. And sometimes they are artists. Even artists gets the O1. And the good thing with the O1 is that it doesn't have restriction in the salary, like the H1B, where you have to have a certain amount of salary. So a lot of people feel more comfortable going for an O1 and become independent. The advantage of having an O1, for example, as you know, an H4 EAD is dependent on the H1 spouse. And if the spouse loses their jobs, or there's some kind of separation or divorce, the other one the H4 EAD loses everything. But with the O1, that person is independent, right? And you're not dependent on the H1B with all the restrictions. Plus, if let's say your spouse on H1 lost their job, you can always help them to stay with an O3 visa. So it is interesting thing to look at, and if they give us a call, we can do an assessment. The number is 510-742-5887. 510-742-5887. I don't know how much time we are left, Ira, so please let me know, and then and we can go ahead and discuss a little bit about some different topics if you want.
Absolutely. Let me also take this opportunity to remind our listeners that if you would like to ask a question, or if you would like to speak to Shah Pirali, you can also call us on the studio number 510 510-657-1170. That's 510-657-1170. And listeners, if you would like to get in touch with Shapir Ali after the show, you can call him on 510-742-5887. That's 510-742-5887. We have about 14 more minutes to go. So usually, Isha, in your show, you have you're flooded with calls, but maybe because this is a new time, people are still not much aware of this, and I think once they know that you have moved your time, they will be listening to you here and asking you questions over here as well. Listeners, like I said, कोई भी आपको इमिग्रेशन का सवाल है, चाहे वो कोई पेंडिंग केस है या आपका स्टेटस है या आप कुछ करना चाहते हैं अपने इमिग्रेशन केस में या स्टेटस में, आप जरूर बात कीजिए शापिर अली से. 510-657-1170 is the number, and his office number is 510-742-5887. His website is peeralilaw.com. That's PEERALLYLAW.com, peeralilaw.com. And 11 बजे तक he is on air with us. ये शो जो पहले थर्सडे को 10 to 11 होता था, now it's happening on Wednesday 10 to 11. So same show, same team, just moving to a different time. So जितने भी नए listeners हैं, आप भी फोन कर सकते हैं, पुराने listeners भी फोन कर सकते हैं. Any questions that you have about anything immigration, definitely call us right away. Yes, Shah. So now we have about 13 minutes away from the end of the show. So we have 13 minutes to speak about a different topic.
Yes, so I wanted to talk a little bit about something else where we help people, is debt settlement. This is going to become really kind of a hot topic soon, because a lot of people lost their jobs, and they are pretty much, a lot of people also running on credit cards, and they will reach a point where they will not really be, it will be hard for them. It is going to really hit people hard, unfortunately, financially, and then at this point they will probably want to go ahead and they will try to pay their credit cards, but you know how credit cards function. It piles up, and they end up by actually kind of having a lot of debts on their head. And for those who are leaving the country, this can get worse, because with all the debts and they try to come back, the companies might give them a hard time. So one of the solutions, of course, is a bankruptcy, which is not recommended for immigrants, but we can also help them with what we call a debt settlement. So if people need help on that, please give us a call, 510-742-5887. And a debt settlement is basically negotiation of the debt, moving to all your collection agencies, and actually kind of we negotiate with them whatever. For example, you owe $10,000, we can negotiate and bring it maybe $2,000-3,000, and you pay only $2,000-3,000, and they forgive you for the rest. So these are the kind of things we've been doing that for a long time also, because it's very much related to immigration, because most of our clients are immigrants, and many of them are getting stuck because they don't know really how to survive. They don't have anything else they can rely on, so they rely on their credit card, or even they take loans on their houses, second mortgages, etc. We can help them get out of that. So I just wanted to mention that as a footnote, where our law firm also help on this. We don't take really anything else, really. We have two departments. One does debt settlement, and the other one immigration. That's it. So if people need help, feel free to reach out to us, 510-742-5887. So I think we have another 8 minutes to go, so we're going to kind of recap a little bit and go back to immigration. What do you think? Absolutely.
I think it would be a good idea to just reiterate and, capture everything that we already spoke about. Let's do that.
Indeed. Exactly. So one of the things I was mentioning at the beginning is that maybe some good news coming when it comes to the waiting time of the people. And I know we changed the day to day, so I know many people who are kind of always listening on Thursdays, they're not here, so we are talking to a new audience. So for those who don't know me, I am Shapir Ali. I'm a lawyer in California, and I've been doing immigration law for now almost 17 years, and I've been our law firm has been here for almost 16 years, and we have been in the Bay Area. We handle mostly employment-based, but also family-based, like green card for spouses, for parents, for siblings, also abuse cases. We do a lot of those VAWA cases.
Okay.
And we also do a lot of cases of U visas, people who have been victims of crimes. For example, if you have been victim of a crime, let's say, for example, you went to a store, someone put a gun on your head, or you work at a store, someone put a gun on your head and tried to rob you, or on the street, or someone tried to take your car and try to hit you. We are seeing a lot of that on hate crimes, where people are basically going after minorities, and they try to use their car as a way to hurt the people. And if you have a case on that, you might be eligible for what we call a U visa. A U visa pretty much is good. The only thing is now it's a little bit delayed. It's like 6 years to get it. But if you get it, it ultimately brings you to a green card. So, and the good thing with the U visa, even you're out of status or you never had status, you can use it. So it is something that you have to look at, because a lot of people don't know they are eligible for it. If you have been victim of a crime and you have a police report, give us a call. We can actually look into that for you. And that's the option we handle. And also, of course, we handle visas like employment-based. This is our bread and butter. And we mostly handle H-1Bs, green cards, but a lot of cases of EB-1. EB-1 are for people of extraordinary abilities, EB-1A especially. EB-1B are for outstanding professors and researchers. And EB-1C are for people who have been transferred in a managerial role or an executive role. So you have to look into all those options when you're doing your case, because many times the people call me, for example, for an H4 issue, and then when I talk to them, I realize they're qualified for an EB1 or an O1 visa, etc. And then they lose that chance which they could get if they had tried at least talk to someone who's experienced. So call a lawyer before you make any move. Don't rely too much on forums, by the way. A lot of people rely on forums or online, and oftentimes they get it completely wrong. Not only they get it wrong, they give people wrong advice, and they end up by getting into more trouble than they were before. So it is not recommended to rely. It's okay to rely on forums, etc., for facts, like looking what happened in someone's case and comparing your case. But you have to know that many of those people writing there, number one, many of them are anonymous, so you don't know who they are. They might be lying to you, or they might not even know their own facts, and they might not even know what has been done in their case. And what happens then, if you rely on the information, you might end up into a much more a mess than you were before. So make sure you don't take it for granted. Double check with the lawyer if you want to make a move instead of relying just on the forum. It is unfortunately something that we are seeing a lot recently. Because another thing that I wanted to warn people about, if you write your personal stuff on forums and you mention your name or they find your name, you're kind of stuck, because it becomes kind of public record, quote unquote, and it can put you in danger at a later stage, because now the immigration are really kind of monitor all this very closely. I had cases when we go for interviews or something, they pull the Facebook out, and then whatever that person was saying, they just say, hey, you never said that, look what you wrote on your Facebook. So people have to be careful. So it is important that people be careful what they write in there on the social media, because it can really, really come back and bite them later.
All right, yeah, because I was just going to ask you, how does that put them in danger? But like you said, they are actually keeping an eye on social media and everything. Okay.
I'll give you an example.
Yes,
Whenever you have a marriage case, for example, you have an interview, right? So many times people don't clear their Facebook account, etc. They are married to one person, but there's a picture of someone else in there.
Okay.
So guess what? It just bingo right there. They believe that the marriage is not real. Many people don't even know. I have clients who told me, hey, I don't even use that Facebook for years. And then that's how we told the officer, look, the last time there was an update on that, it was like 3 years ago, so you can't use that. Then he had to agree. But at first hand, when they look at it, they didn't look at the dates. All they look at is a picture, right? So people need to be careful. And also people write a lot of nonsense sometimes. They threaten people, they do those things. And although they cannot really use it directly against you, but they can infer that you are not a good person. And that really triggers a lot of issues. So this is just one example. The other thing that we see also is that people put their personal details. Some will even put that they committed fraud and brag about it. So be very, very careful what you write in there. I use social media a lot. Sometimes I say things myself, then I realize, oh, why did I say that? But I said it because at that time it just come out. It doesn't affect me. I'm not immigrating, so I have a freedom of speech. But at the end of the day, for people who are not U.S. citizens, freedom of speech is quote-unquote limited for them. There are case law from the Supreme Court which says that. So be careful. People don't know that, but you don't really have the same rights as a citizen, even though you feel you do. There are many protections under the Constitution, but the rights are not the same. You don't have a right to vote. You don't have the same right to benefits, etc. So when it comes to speech also, your rights are not the same. So be very, very careful. I don't know how much time we are left. I think we have another 2 minutes.
We have about 2 minutes, right? Yes. 2 minutes, yes.
Okay. So the second thing that we mentioned, number one, that we have the situation of now a change probably in the country cap, which is going to be a welcome news for people from India and China. But until it's finalized, we cannot really kind of say anything. But then also if it is finalized, I think it will kick in around 2022, not right away. So watch out for that. And also the next thing that we talk about, unfortunately, is a delay on the application. So you have to bear with us. And if you already did your fingerprint, the case still being delayed, you can contact a congressman. That's pretty much the quick solution. Of course, you can sue the government, but that's not really recommended right now. It's not a good idea in some cases. Sometimes it is a good idea. I've done a lot of those lawsuits in the past, and we have won most of them. But at the same time, it is not really to your advantage sometimes to use that. Now, the other thing I wanted to let people know, for those who are listening to us, we are new listeners. I am a lawyer in California, so if you need any help, I practice immigration pretty much in all the 50 states because it's federal, and they can call us 510-742-5887. And just to remind people, anything I told you today is my opinion. You should not act or refrain to act solely on the information provided. You should contact an attorney if you have any questions. Ira, any final questions you want to add, or because I think we are almost done now.
We are actually out of time for today's show. Very informative show, Shah. Thank you so much for being here and doing this with us.
Thank you.
And listeners, now let me once again give you the contact details of Shah Pirali. Definitely, if you'd like to call him up, you can call up on 510-742-5887. That's 510-742-5887. The website is piralilaw.com. That's piralilaw.com. And, I really wanted to speak to you more about suing the government, the do's and don'ts of it. But let's keep that for another time. Listeners, Shah Pirali will be back with us next week, same time, same place. Shah, thank you so much for being here with us. I'll speak to you again next week.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
You too. And thank you, listeners, for tuning in. You stay tuned to Radio Sindagi.